Hi there, Mark here again. Welcome back to part 3 of my Tamiya FF03 front wheel drive chassis build guide. This is where we got last time. So we've got the diff assembly on the front, the motor plate, we've got the front suspension pretty much done. And now we're going to carry on with step 15, which is starting the rear suspension. So we'll just zoom in and get on with it. So for this step we need parts D2, which are the rear suspension arms, and here they are. Again, as I always say, follow the alignment of the diagram. Make sure this time that you've got the two holes that are the furthest away from the pivot on the inside, because we're going to put that ball joint in there. Note that this is a chrome ball joint. It is different, it's got a longer thread on it, it's a BB1, so put that in place and make sure that you put on that spacer, which is a J13. You can probably see there. This is the side I've already done. I've put the bar in and I've got the spacer on. I'll show you how to do that on the second one. But what we need to do first is to, like in the front suspension, we need to drill a hole part of the way through this hole that already exists here. So get my drill with a 3mm bit in, and we just need to drill halfway through. Once you've done that, you need to get this BA12, which is a long grub screw, and screw that so we've got about 2mm sticking out through the bottom. It should be something like that. So you need to get your spacers ready. We've got the J9 and the J12. They are different sizes, so make sure you get them lined up correctly for the right side of the shaft here that we're going to be putting in, which is BA14. So basically we slide that one through. We need J9 at the back, the J12 on the front, and as it says in the diagram, we need to put a bit of grease on each end here and then fit on these little ball connectors. We need 2 of those. Those are the J8s. So hopefully that bit of grease will stop these from dropping off when we put it into the chassis. So there's the 2 rear suspension arms ready to go on. So step 16, we're going to attach the rear arms. You can make this into a short or a medium length chassis. We're doing the long, so we're following this procedure here. The separate instructions for the short one later on. So what we need to do is get this part done first, which is get part M5. Just kind of square shaped plastic piece, and make sure that we align this correctly. As it says to the front there, we need the 2 holes here towards the front. Match that up with the diagram, and we need to put on, I think first we need to get this J7, which is the spacer, and N2, which is this piece, which is the 1XD, it should be marked as. That's going to hold those suspension links in there, so we put that one on first. So what we need to do is turn this over, put the spacer in, and make sure the holes are pointing backwards as we are looking at it now, and then secure that from the top with the 2 screws BA4, and these BA4s are the 3x10 screws. Okay, so it should look something like that when it's in, and again turn it back over. Then we need parts K10 and K9. So when you've attached K10 and the K9 with the 4 countersunks, the part should look something like this. Now we need to get those rear suspension arms that we've done. Make sure you get the left and right the right way around. We need to fix that underneath, so that one goes in there. I'm going to turn it over to do this. That one goes in there. Okay, so now we need another one of those spacers, the J7s, that's going to go under there. And then we need this part which is labelled as 1A. It's an N3, and that's going to hold the back of those arms together like that. Turn it back over. We need to put 2 3mm screws, one in each of these holes. So when you're finished, it should move freely and look something like this. On step 17, which is a rear damper stay, you're going to need 7 of these 3x8mm screws. You need part M4, and what I've done is fitted the ball connectors, grey ones, onto the inside there of the 3 holes you've got. So that's what I've done first, and then I've made up this part K15, K12 and K13. The tiny little grub screws go in, as you can see. That's just they're just attached with the 2 3mm screws. I think that's for a damper stay, so we won't actually use this, but we'll fit it anyway. And that goes onto M4. We'll hold it with the 2 screws from the bottom. It should look something like this when you've done it. And then we need to get the actual stay itself, which is M2. Again, fitted 2 ball joints there on the inner of the holes, ball connectors I should say, and they're the grey ones again. And now it's the last 3 screws. We're going to attach this onto part M4, and there's your finished rear damper stay. Step 18 is simply attaching that rear damper stay that we've just made onto the rear suspension assembly. You can see it clearly fits in there and it goes one way around, and we just need to put the 4 screws in to hold it in place. Step 19 is the rear axles. Make 2 of. I've made the first one up here. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. It's not too difficult. So you've got these E1, they're both the same. Make sure you put the ball joints towards the outside, which is where the wheel's going to mount, like so. And what we need to do is to pre-drill again a 2.5mm hole in this hole that's provided. There's a blank there, so we just drill through there. Okay, you only need to drill through the one side, you don't need to drill through to the back. Okay, once you've done that, what I do, it doesn't say to do it yet, but I put the little grub screw, which is a BA13, just get it started so it's ready for later. Then you need your stub axle, which is a BB8. You need the plastic spacer, which is a J16. Put that on first. We need a bearing in each side of the upright, E1. Nicely clicks into place, it's a nice tight fit. Put your shaft through, and then Tamiya have nicely provided us with an R-clip just to make sure that this doesn't fall out while we carry on with the build process. What you also need to do on this step is to make 2 turnbuckles with the top suspension arms, and again just put your ball cups onto these are the BA17 32mm bars, and then line it up so it's the same size as the diagram. In step 20 we're just going to attach those axles to the rear suspension. So I've done the one side, as you can see. When it's done it should look something like this. You're going to need BB4, which is the bar with the flat in it. This time when you put this bar through, the pin through, the flat needs to point to the outside rather than down like on the fronts. So, and we've got to fit in the little plastic spacer, which is a J10. It's a little bit tricky. The spacer goes at the back. We've got to get all this together and slide it in. Once it's in place, just tighten up that grub screw. don't go too mad with the tension on this. It only needs to stop the bar from coming out, and then simply pop on your top suspension arm. And that's your rear suspension assembly finished. Step 21 is nice and easy. We're just going to fit that rear section we've completed onto the chassis. So these two holes here line up with the two rear holes there, and it does slot into place. So all we need to do then is get these 4 countersunk 12mm screws, one in there, and one in each of those holes. So step 22 is making the dampers. I make 4 of these. I'm just going to quickly whiz through this. So the first thing you need is your bar, your BB14. I've already put the first E-clip on there. Then you need part V8, which is the one with just the single hole in it. And we need to put the other E-clip on top. So once that's done, we need to get the actual body itself. Put a little bit of silicone shock oil into the hole at the bottom. Put your 2 O-rings in place. A little bit more oil. And you want your bottom cap, which is your Q1. And don't tighten this all the way up until you've got the shaft in. So what I tend to do is put my finger over the bottom here. I'm going to fill it up with oil. Probably going to get a bit messy here. So then I get the piston that we've made, push it through the bottom hole and pull the piston down, and we should have none or very few bubbles in there now by putting the oil in first. Got all over my fingers there. Get the shock cap, put that on. So we've got oil coming out, but it doesn't really matter. Get the top cap, and then what I do is screw these 2 up against each other. You've got the shock bottom then, part V1, just screw that on. Then it's simply a case of putting the spring on and then the retainer at the bottom, which is a V5. And then just get the clip to tension it as you prefer. There you go, so that's part 22, 23 and 24. Make 3 more. So on to steps 25 and 26. Time to open parts bag C. We're going to put on the body posts at the rear. We need the 12mm screws, the posts and the spacers, parts J1. It looks like you have to have the angle going to the front of the car, pointed towards the front, that S shape, and we need the spacer on there. Simply put it through and screw up your 3B12. Do the same with the second one, and then it's a case of just clicking the shocks on, which you can probably see I've already done. We just press them over those ball joints. That's step 25. 26 is making up push rods. These are the push rods that are going to move the front suspension up and down. So I've already done these again. You just need the bar, which is a BB3, 28mm long, and just notice that you've got one cup facing down and the other cup facing up. Make 2 of. Step 27 is we're going to use those push rods now. Going to attach those and going to click on the front shocks. It should be quite simple, he says. So we've got to fit bottom push rod on the bottom wishbone and then connect that up to the pivot. Okay, that moves the suspension up and down. Same for the other side, and then get your shock. The top goes on there, the bottom goes on the pivot, So there's one side done. Obviously repeat the process for the other side, and that is how the suspension works. That feels very smooth. Was a bit unsure about this, but yeah, very smooth action indeed. I like that. So you can see the suspension working there. Pretty trick, I think that is. And all we've got to do for the rest of this, to finish this step, is to put the front posts on, the body posts, which are B2. Just fits in like that with one 3x10 screw, and the second one fits into the metal plate like so, and this one has a 3x10 countersunk screw. So that is the end of step 27. Okay, so with the front and the rear suspension complete, I think this is a good point to end this part of the build guide. I hope you join me on the next one, where hopefully we'll get this chassis complete. But in the meantime, thanks a lot for watching and take care. Bye.